The rank 7 ground ball magic beast was struggling to make its final attack and Samuel had already arrived and gave the last knife. Slash! The sword cleanly cut through the rank 7 ground ball magic beast. Ruth saw this and arched her eyebrows. Even with her special bow, she couldn't make such a move and killed the rank 7 ground ball magic beast so easily. It was really... Splash! Blood splashed out and Samuel frowned as he walked away. He tapped the dead rank 7 ground ball magic beast's body and put it into the space storage scroll without hesitation. If the rank 7 ground ball magic beast continued to stay outside, the blood would only spill the ground and it was such a waste. He still remembered that Rhea liked to collect rank 7 magic beast's blood for her formation and so on. Raising his head, he saw that the number of rank 7 flying magic beasts had decreased a lot. It seemed that the large-scale moves he used still affect Rhea as she used it to kill more rank 7 flying magic beasts when she had the chance. It was a good thing. Samuel nodded to himself in his heart with satisfaction. It looked like the two of them were cooperating without even communicating with each other, but the end result was still very satisfying. "Is it done?" Jonas Nolan asked, and then his expressions dropped when he saw the devastating situation of the ground after the rank 7 ground ball magic beast's battle with Samuel. He had just asked them not to destroy the grounds, and now this. Jonas Nolan felt heartbroken. So many herbs. Seeing the young man was about to cry, Samuel shook his head and understood that Jonas Nolan should have put a lot of importance to the herbs from the crack this time. As for what he was planning to make, Samuel didn't know and didn't have the interest to figure it out either. After all, this was not his business. "Time to work," the captain said to the soldiers who started moving and gathered the herbs while exploring the place. Without the rank 7 ground ball magic beast that threatened them not long ago, it was relatively safer for them. As for those rank 7 flying magic beasts above, with Rhea containing them, they didn't have to worry that much. Samuel and Ruth would also make a move when it was necessary if these rank 7 flying magic beasts ever came down and so on. "You're not planning on helping her?" Jonas Nolan could only push his attention elsewhere or he would definitely cry. Several valuable herbs were destroyed due to that rank 7 ground ball magic beast rolling around not long ago. This made him hate the rank 7 ground ball magic beast even more than before. "She doesn't need my help," Samuel said lazily. If Rhea needed his help, she would not shy away and will definitely ask. But these rank 7 flying magic beasts were weakened to a certain degree. Her speed and control over her body movement in the air had gotten even better. Perhaps she would become more all-rounder in the future. Thinking about it, Samuel's lips curled up slightly. The stronger Rhea meant her safety would be more guaranteed. But at the same time, it also meant that he had to train harder. He didn't want to be left behind by his wife. It wouldn't be fun. "Oh!" Jonas Nolan nodded, and then he looked at the few fallen rank 7 flying magic beasts' corpses on the side. He didn't have that much understanding about biology and so on, but he could tell that the mana contained within these rank 7 flying magic beasts were still overwhelming. While they were weakened, the amount of mana in their bodies didn't seem to have much difference ordinary rank 7 magic beasts. "Rather than standing here, you can gather the herbs now, Jonas." Samuel glanced at Jonas Nolan and reminded, "We won't be staying here for long." Their plan was only to stay in the crack until the passage for them to leave the green planet was opened. Of course, they would not leave for a long period of time, but only for a while in order to practice. Because practicing on the green planet was not very effective, and they needed more challenges. Not even these rank 7 flying magic beasts could pose any challenge to them, and Samuel could see that Rhea was still relatively relaxed. While she didn't hold back at all, she didn't seem to be in a hurry. "Oh, right." Jonas Nolan quickly scurried to the side. He saw a very valuable plant nearby and planned to pick it up first before any other magic beast could take it. Samuel saw Jonas Nolan left and retracted his gaze away. There was a rank 7 ground ball magic beast not long ago, and there might be other magic beasts nearby. The earth element silently spread out, detecting if there were any other rank 7 ground ball magic beast underground. Some weaker magic beasts were directly killed as Samuel was busy looking at the ground. "Don't kill the plants," Ruth's voice came from behind. I can sense your earth element," Ruth said slowly. She herself has earth element too, so when Samuel used the earth element to scan the ground, she felt the faint magic fluctuation. Both of them were magic warriors and have good mana control. When two people have the same element, they would usually notice when the other party was using their magic. This time was no exception. Moreover, Samuel's earth magic was not particularly strong because he focused on fire and lightning element. "I can still differentiate between magic beasts and plants, Miss Ruth," Samuel said politely. Ruth nodded and then walked to the side to follow behind Jonas Nolan. Her task when she came here was also to protect Jonas Nolan. This brat's fighting ability was really bad. To be honest, Ruth sometimes wondered how Jonas Nolan managed to become rank 7 with such poor fighting awareness. He seemed to have been living under the protection of his family for his entire life. No matter whether it was in this world or in that world, it was the same. Swoosh! Bang! Seeing a rank 7 flying magic beasts rushing towards them, Ruth immediately drew her bow and shot it down. Screech! The rank 7 flying magic beast was unconvinced and tried to move once more, but something stabbed it from below and the magic beast fell to the ground. Ruth raised her head and saw that Rhea was still busy dealing with the rest of the rank 7 flying magic beasts. There were only a few left and soon, she would finish the battle and return to clean up the mess. "Thankfully you're here, Sister Ruth." Jonas Nolan looked relieved when he saw the fallen rank 7 flying magic beasts in the distance. "It's Rhea who killed it. But you're the one who protected me." Jonas Nolan grinned. Ruth rolled her eyes and asked bluntly, "How did you protect yourself when you're alone? Does your family members always protect you wherever you go?" "Of course not," Jonas Nolan retorted immediately. How could his family member be so idle that they could follow him everywhere? They also have things that they had to do. "But your awareness is really low," Ruth said with a frown. Among the returnees whom she had met so far, Jonas Nolan was definitely the one with the worst battle awareness. Back in City J Base, Dina has always been on guard against other people. She might look relaxed, but the subtle movements and body language conveyed that she was actually on high alert. If there were anyone who made unnecessary move, Dina would attack without hesitation. This was the state of someone who had been on the battlefield for a long period of time and had to defend against the people there. Ruth herself had fought on the so-called battlefield for the sake of resources and also fighting against countless magic beasts. When they were in the wilderness, there were many magic beasts that might kill them if they were not careful. So everyone needed to have strong awareness. Otherwise, what awaited them would be nothing more than their own demise. But Jonas Nolan was the opposite of what the people whom Ruth had met before. Even Samuel and Rhea were still on guard. Samuel was obvious because of his position, while Rhea was a Runemaster who usually didn't fight much on the front line. Yet, the two of them were obviously battle-hardened. "I'm not letting down my guard completely in front of strangers," Jonas Nolan explained with a frown. "It's only because I trust you that I'm more relaxed, Sister Ruth." He had seen how Ruth is with his own eyes. Even though she still has her own calculation or so on, but she was not someone who would hurt other people easily. It was also because of this that Jonas Nolan knew that he could trust the other party. "Heh," Ruth sneered. "Trust her?" They have only met for a short period of time, and Ruth didn't believe Jonas Nolan's words in the slightest bit. If it was so easy to trust other people, how could there be so many betrayals and murder-killing in that world? She had seen too much. Is this Jonas Nolan too naive? Ruth didn't know, but she had no interest to figure it out either. Be more careful. There might be other rank 7 magic beasts aside from those rank 7 flying magic beasts. After that, Ruth moved to the side and simply watched Rhea's battle. There were only 1 or 2 rank 7 flying magic beasts left on the sky, and the rest had turned into corpses and fell to the ground. The battle was extremely fast. Jonas Nolan shrugged helplessly and then crouched down to pick the herbs from the ground. Thankfully, this area was not affected by the battle before. But there were too many areas that were destroyed and many herbs couldn't be used anymore. Thinking about this, Jonas Nolan sighed. Next time they wanted to fight those magic beasts, they should stay far away from this place. Thud! A rank 7 flying magic beast was thrown not far away, and Rhea also landed on the ground. still looking very energetic. There was not even a drop of blood on her robe and she still looked clean. "It's done," Rhea said while stretching her hand. "There are a few more magic beasts in the distance. Do you want to hunt them down?" When she was flying, Rhea could see the situation in the entire areas clearly. Even though it was impossible for her to pay so much attention when she was fighting against these rank 7 flying magic beasts, she still noticed some groups of magic beasts that were approaching the valley. Considering that Jonas Nolan was worried about them destroying the valley, wouldn't it be good for them to chase after the magic beasts instead? Anyway, it was not that difficult for both of them. Samuel arched his eyebrows. "How's your mana?" Even if these rank 7 flying magic beasts were a bit weaker, Rhea still consumed quite a lot of her mana when fighting against these magic beasts. If they were to go out and chased after the other magic beasts in the distance, would Rhea be able to hold on? "Don't worry, by the time we're near the magic beasts, my mana would have mostly recovered," Rhea replied with a smile. Her mana recovery was not that bad and the protective rune circle could still operate without her infusing more mana. In this way, she could completely focus on recovering her mana without the need to worry about her being attacked all of the sudden. Samuel thought for a moment before glancing over to Jonas Nolan and Ruth on the side. He naturally wanted to go and see if those magic beasts were also of rank 7. If they were, then he didn't mind killing a few. Those rank 7 magic beasts that couldn't be eaten had long been handed over to his father for him to use for Cydia base. Rhea herself had her own use of those magic beasts' corpses and Samuel never asked. Anyway, it was not his business. His way of training and Rhea's way of training were different. It was impossible to generalize the two of them nor for them to be the same. "We can stay here and there are no other rank 7 flying magic beasts nearby, right?" Jonas Nolan waved his hand. "As far as I can see, there are none," Rhea replied. She stayed in the air long enough to monitor the surrounding situations, so she could see that there were no other rank 7 flying magic beasts nearby. Of course, if they were in the mountain ranges in the distance, it would take at least a few minutes for them to fly over here and Rhea couldn't see them. "Then you can go. Just deal with those rank 7 magic beasts. As many as you can," Jonas Nolan added after a moment. Since these two people were eager to fight, then Jonas Nolan would not stop them from going. Anyway, the one who will benefit in the end is him. There were indeed some alchemy that required the body parts of rank 7 magic beasts, but the number of recipes were not a lot. Jonas Nolan himself was not used to use these rank 7 magic beasts' blood or other body parts. Moreover, he hadn't even reached rank 7. Using these materials rashly would only waste them. And when he reached rank 7, he would be able to deal with these rank 7 magic beasts on his own. Okay then. Rhea and Samuel didn't hesitate any longer and left to explore the crack. If there were other rank 7 flying magic beasts, they would return immediately. "Is it fine this way?" The captain looked worried when he saw the two people leaving. At this moment, he felt that these two returnees were really unreliable. They brought them over to help with guarding them, but what would they do if these two people left? Protect Jonas Nolan on their own? The soldiers were worried. Jonas Nolan shook his head. "They can definitely arrive in time if there are rank 7 magic beasts nearby." "Huh!" But Jonas Nolan was too lazy to explain and was busy digging the herbs nearby. He had noticed this herb from a long time ago and felt that this entire place was full of treasure, which made him want to stay here for a long period of time. "Ah! So many good herbs!" Ruth saw the captain's confusion and her eyes moved to the ground where the blood from the rank 7 magic beasts had been drawn into circle. She didn't know when Rhea did it, but during the time when they were talking, she sensed the mana moved for a moment and saw that a formation has been built here. As for what kind of formation it is, it should be either protection kind of formation or even the teleportation formation. After all, Rhea was famous for her teleportation formation when they were in City J base. She had heard about how Rhea blocked the cracks at such a high speed. No one else could compare with her in terms of moving around like that. And not many people dared to compete with the Runemaster in terms of speed. Because these people basically cheated. Focus on getting more herbs. Yes. Ruth looked at the herbs that the soldiers collected and only recognized some of them. After all, she herself had used some herbs in order to treat her injuries and so on, so she has some basic knowledge. But compared to the professional Jonas Nolan, it was definitely far from enough. In the distance, Rhea and Samuel moved in relaxed pace and paid attention to their surroundings. No matter what, they were still hired to protect the people here. Even if they were allowed to roam around in order to find some treasure and resources, they should have a limit to what they were doing and not do anything excessively. At the very least, pay attention to the proportion. "This place is beautiful," Rhea murmured. "It would have been better if there were no magic beasts that will attack them at all times around here." For a moment, Rhea thought about Murin. She knew very well that the main reason why Murin became enemies with the entire world at that time was because he said that humans and magic beasts could coexist. It was humans who was at fault and that they shouldn't have killed the magic beasts. Otherwise, the two races could definitely live well together. When Rhea heard Murin's statement back then, she was not very optimistic because she knew very well that the magic beasts basically ate other creatures in order to advance in their ranks. Be it humans or other magic beasts, they were basically omnivorous. So Murin's proposal was met with a lot of hate. Though, Rhea didn't know the details because she and Murin were located in different regions. She herself was busy with other things when Murin was hunted down and his magic beasts were killed one by one. "The valley should be one of the most beautiful places in the crack," Samuel added from the side. "Those precious herbs need suitable place to grow." Rhea nodded in agreement. In a way, they were actually taking advantage of Jonas Nolan. Without him, such a beautiful place wouldn't have existed. "Shall we take longer walk?" "It would be a good idea, but—" Roar! Swish! Bang! A magic beast jumped out and several earth spikes were thrown in their direction. Samuel swiftly avoided to the side and his eyes narrowed slightly. These rank 7 magic beasts have started to use more of their magic element. The weakened magic beasts were relatively stupid and their attacks were usually a miss. Even if they used their magic and mana, there seemed to be a limit to what they could use before. On the green planet, it was obvious that the mana concentration was lower than the crack. These magic beasts were not used to it and couldn't use their full strength, resulting in humans being able to fight back as much as they wanted to. Unfortunately, the end result was not always good. There were still some people who failed to kill these magic beasts for some reasons, and a large number of magic beasts were still roaming all over the green planet. The strength of these magic beasts also ranged from low to high. Some of them were rank 7 magic beasts. They couldn't be defeated easily. In the previous crack, Rhea and Samuel could still handle the magic beasts, and the number of rank 7 magic beasts they met was extremely few. Magic beasts lower than rank 7 didn't have that much ability to use their magic elements. Even if the bodies of these magic beasts were strong, but as long as one knew how to deal with they could still win. So Rhea and Samuel only had trouble when a large number of magic beasts poured over. After all, their own stamina was limited. No one could fight for days without being tired, and the two of them had to maintain high concentration. Otherwise, even a weak magic beast could kill them if they were not careful enough. This was how it is. Now that their opponents were rank 7 magic beasts, the magic that these magic beasts used had increased. There were more and more variety, which made their already difficult battle even more difficult. Thankfully, they were also at rank 7. "Yes, earth element," Rhea said with a frown. "If it was wind element, it would have been easier to deal with them." "I'll restrict their use of magic," Samuel said with a smile. Rhea arched her eyebrows and nodded. No matter what, magic was also using the mana from within their body and the mana in the air. Mana is a form of energy. And the energy in the air was limited, so if Samuel were to use the earth element in large scale, it was possible to limit this rank 7 magic beasts from using earth element. Swish! Bang! Roar! The rank 7 magic beasts roared and then drilled to the ground as several spikes appeared on the ground, preventing the two of them from getting closer. Rhea lightly stepped on the ground and flew up. Pong! An earth spike appeared on the place where she was standing before. Had she stayed behind, she would have been pierced through by the earth spike and probably heavily injured. On the side, Samuel swung his sword to the ground and the earth element around his legs solidified, nullifying the attack from the rank 7 magic beasts. "It's quite strong," Samuel's eyes flickered. This was basically the strongest rank 7 magic beasts that he had encountered so far. At least, in terms of magic control and all, this rank 7 magic beasts didn't seem to have been weakened much. But still, Samuel moved to the side and then swung his sword once more. Roar. The rank 7 magic beasts climbed up. Part of his body was chopped up and there was a big gash on the ground. Lightning crackled, but it was directly absorbed to the ground. The earth element was basically the only element that could face the lightning element without much fear. They could block fire and lightning, so Samuel didn't really like meeting Earth Magic Warrior. Well, Earth Elemental Magic Beasts were also included. Don't use lightning element, Rhea reminded helplessly, when she saw Samuel was using the lightning element once again. I know, Samuel replied. Unlike Rhea, who had all elements, Samuel only had 4 elements. But his proficiency in these elements were definitely far above Rhea. After all, Rhea didn't have deep research or anything like that in her elements. There were too many to focus on. Swish! Wind element immediately soared and cut through the earth element barrier that the rank 7 magic beasts erected. At the same time, ice element spread out from behind, freezing the rank 7 magic beasts. Roar! The rank 7 magic beasts roared unwillingly as the next moment Samuel used fire element and cut through its body into 2. It's done, Samuel said lightly. It's not that strong. But the use of the elements are more interesting than before. Rhea landed on the ground and looked at the rank 7 magic beasts curiously. These magic beasts gained better elemental control after the second earthquake. This is not that obvious when these rank 7 magic beasts come out of the crack. But in the crack, they're stronger, Samuel said. He also found that these rank 7 magic beasts were stronger when he was in the crack before. But they were still far from being able to defeat either of them. Buzz! The sword also buzzed, seemingly in agreement with Samuel. Seeing the sword was trying to increase his presence once more, Rhea felt rather amused. Your sword loves to move around. It can't be helped. Samuel patted his sword to let it stay quiet. After getting the resources it needed, the sword has been prancing around, which made Samuel itchy. He really wanted to beat this sword up. Unfortunately, he couldn't possibly do that and could only use his mana to warn and suppress the sword. Thankfully, the sword would only act up when they were outside combat. Otherwise, Samuel would have to throw this precious sword away and didn't dare to use it anymore. How about if we compete to deal with these rank 7 magic beasts? Rhea asked. The two of them originally agreed to spar against each other. But there hasn't been time for them before. Now that they were here, how about competing in different matters instead? Samuel arched his eyebrows and smirked. Bring it on. They looked at the group of rank 7 magic beasts running over and swiftly moved around. One to the left and the other to the right. What followed next was the rapid explosion and roaring of these rank 7 magic beasts that were being abused to death. In the distance, Ruth and Jonas Nolan could still see the elemental explosion in the distance. After digging the herbs for a while, Jonas Nolan stayed on the back to sort out the herbs that the soldiers collected. While these soldiers had been taught how to identify the herbs that Jonas Nolan wanted to find, but their sorting ability was not very good. There were even some herbs that they placed wrong. Well, he could only do it himself. The battle is really fierce. Ruth looked at the distance and her eyes flickered slightly. She had been waiting here and basically watched over Jonas Nolan. The soldiers scattered around the areas, looking for herbs, and other samples would be brought back. If there were other weaker magic beasts, they would deal with it on their own and didn't disturb these 4 people. After all, it would be too embarrassing to ask for help if they couldn't even deal with ordinary magic beasts. These were not rank 7 magic beasts that they couldn't defeat with their current strength. Do you want to fight? Jonas Nolan asked nonchalantly while drying the herbs with expectation visible on his face. Rather than fighting, Jonas Nolan was already imagining the scene of himself making various potions. These herbs made him really happy and Jonas Nolan wanted to stay here for the rest of his life. Cough. Well, at least for a much longer time. And if he could explore deeper in this valley, he might be able to find some other valuable herbs. Some of these herbs could be directly used as potions and a small part will be reserved for cultivation and transplantation. After all, he wanted to ensure stable production of potions. Ruth had already told them about what would happen in a year's time, so he should also be prepared. As an alchemist, his fighting ability was far from top-notch, so he could only focus to make sure that he had enough materials in hand. In this way, he would be able to help other people to fight the magic beasts. "Well, I have to train and I don't plan to stay here," Ruth answered honestly. This was something she has been thinking about, and seeing Samuel and Rhea were so unrestrained and even admitted openly that they were going out of the Green Planet, Ruth really hoped that she could be like them. Openly stated what she wanted and also get out to deal with those magic beasts, instead of staying on the back and just wait for them to appear later. Jonas Nolan stopped his action and turned his head with some hesitation. "In that case, how about if you apply to leave?" "I know," Ruth whispered softly. "The problem is, the Continent W might not agree to her request so easily." She had only arrived in Continent W for a short period of time, and it was impossible for them to release her. After all, for them to be able to bring Ruth over to Continent W, they already had to pay a lot. They didn't want to lose her right after she arrived in Continent W. But she also didn't want to be here. So it would be better for her to figure out a way to negotiate some terms with them. That way, she would not be a puppet controlled by others for the rest of her life. After a few hours, Samuel and Rhea returned, still looked as clean as when they departed. However, Rhea looked annoyed. "I should be stupid to agree to compete with you," Rhea grumbled. She had long known that Samuel's attack power was simply off the charts, and as a Runemaster, it was basically impossible for Rhea to compare with Samuel in this regards. But when the two of them were facing those magic beasts, she miraculously forgot and agreed to compete with Samuel. Just thinking about it made Rhea annoyed. Their bet was not that big, just a simple meal. Still, Rhea felt that she should have never relaxed her guard when she was around Samuel. This man was also a black-bellied person. "TSK. Samuel chuckled. "Don't forget our agreement. Don't be so smug." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "Next time, we'll compete in different matters." She didn't want to lose. Hearing this, Samuel only smiled and didn't take it to heart. When they were fighting just now, he used a large-scale attack, directly killing a lot of rank 7 magic beasts. This move was what naturally allowed him to win in the bet with Rhea. And the one who lose had to cook food for the winner. Samuel knew Rhea's cooking skills very well. Well, there was nothing to expect. In the dormitory during the early days of this disaster, Samuel could remember clearly that the food that Rhea made was bland. He had to add some seasoning himself if he wanted to eat well. Even Amelia could only say that she could barely eat the food cooked by Rhea. It was really not something one would have much expectation of. "You want to compete in how many rank 7 magic beasts you can kill in a long period of time?" Samuel asked. In terms of strong firepower from the beginning until the end, Rhea had to be ranked among the top. The protective rune circle she made were able to replenish itself. Not to mention, Rhea had countless magic scrolls. In a battle of attrition, she's definitely the champion. Well, Samuel selectively chose not to think too much about the other returnees to compare. There were also others who were good at war of attrition, but he had to say that Rhea was definitely among the top between them. After all, even he was not as good as Rhea in a prolonged and protracted war. It would be very tiring for him to maintain the same state in a battle for a long period of time. No, Rhea rolled her eyes. Samuel can kill a lot of these magic beasts in an instant. Why should she compete with him in this regards? She's not that stupid. Then, how about if we just compete in how many people you can support? Rhea sneered. Upon hearing this, Samuel was stunned and then looked at Rhea helplessly. As a pure magic warrior who was focused on attack, Samuel was definitely not someone who could support others in battle. Just thinking about it, Samuel chose to give up. That's not possible. Heh! The two of them reached the place where Jonas Nolan was drying the herbs, and Rhea nodded when she saw it. She didn't recognize most of them, but she could guess that they should be quite valuable for Jonas Nolan to treat these herbs so specifically like this. After all, his excellence was already known to many people. You're back. Jonas Nolan smiled in response. It seems that you will take a long time. Samuel saw the range of these soldiers and narrowed his eyes. Considering the vastness of the valley, it would definitely take a long time for them to sweep over the entire area. It couldn't be helped. Not all of these herbs are easy to pick and I have to select them carefully. Jonas Nolan replied helplessly. It was not like he didn't want to hurry since he didn't want to stay here for a long time. Practicing here was indeed a good thing, but there were too many rank 7 magic beasts around and Jonas Nolan didn't want to trouble others all the time. He would rather wait until the continent had built a relatively safer base in this valley and then stayed here all the time. Before that, it would be better to wait outside. I see. I'll try to be faster. Are you planning to go around to look for resources? Yes. Then good luck. Jonas Nolan smiled. It took Samuel and Rhea 3 days to travel all around the valley before they stopped going further. The areas afterwards were mountain range and neither of the two wanted to travel such a long distance without reason. Besides, they could sense that there was almost nothing over there but some magic beasts roaming around. It was so barren. Even the mana concentration is lower. So after they took a quick look, the two of them left the place and didn't plan to return anymore. They had the feeling that, to make the 12 cracks, all mana and resources were basically concentrated in these 12 places. Other places could still be traversed, but it would be very barren and lacked many vital resources that they would need. If they had a lot of free time, it was not impossible to go there and check. But since they were rushing and had other things they were planning to do, none of them were willing to stay here for a long period of time. And after they returned on the 4th day after a quick walk around, they found that the atmosphere was tense. Is there anything wrong? Rhea asked as she walked forward. She had sensed the runes she left behind and it was not disturbed, so there shouldn't be any magic beast's attack. If there was any attack, she would have long teleported over directly with her teleportation formation instead of waiting in the distance. After all, they had been paid to do this job. The resources here were mostly useful for Jonas Nolan, but Rhea and Samuel had obtained some other resources that they could use. Moreover, they killed a lot of rank 7 magic beasts along the way, allowing themselves to get more resources. Rhea used most of it to replenish her world with more mana, while Samuel was sorting out part of it to be given to his father and the rest were used for his own food. Anyway, the two of them were satisfied with this trip. I'm planning to head into the other crack and would like your help to let me pass through the formation. Miss Rhea? Ruth said solemnly. She had managed to negotiate with the officials to allow her to enter the crack for a period of time before she departed to the other world. In return, she gave almost all of the resources she had gathered over the years in City J base. After all, Continent Z had never restricted her from getting resources on her own. They would not stop her when she entered the crack either, and through that method, Ruth was able to collect a lot of resources. Most of them had been used when she advanced to rank 7 some time ago. But the rest were still quite a lot. The officials were quite satisfied with it and agreed to release her. Okay. Rhea nodded readily and then glanced at Samuel. Bringing another person with her would be a waste of mana and Samuel still had to stay here to protect Jonas Nolan because that was their original mission when coming here. You go. Samuel was amused when he saw Rhea's expression. Go back early. I'll probably stay there for a while, Rhea replied with a grin and then swiftly rushed out of the crack before Samuel could respond. Seeing her playful look, Samuel arched his eyebrows and strongly suspect that it was his sister who taught Rhea like this. TSK, that sister of his is really... You're really pampering them, Jonas Nolan commented when he saw this scene. She's my girlfriend, Samuel replied proudly. Upon hearing this, the soldiers all looked to the side and pretended that they heard nothing. The affairs of these returnees were not something that they could concern themselves with. Though, if they had to say, this melon was indeed quite interesting. There were only 12 returnees who came back from that world, and each of them were bringing a lot of knowledge and information that people in their current time didn't have. It was difficult for these returnees to have normal relationship. At least, that was what most of them were thinking. Because these people have some kind of obsession to get stronger and would train and collect resources to the point that some people wonder whether they were crazy. Their pursuit of power had made some people sigh. But only people who were ambitious enough would be able to become stronger. Ha! Jonas Nolan was surprised and then he laughed. Then you two match each other well. Samuel smiled with satisfaction when he heard that. You have good eyes, kid. Jonas Nolan should be the youngest among their batch of returnees. Because when he first entered that world, he was barely 18 years old and right now he was only 20. This is a few years younger than Rhea and even much younger Samuel. So in their eyes, Jonas Nolan is probably like a kid. Of course. Jonas Nolan laughed and then focused on the herbs in front of him again. Samuel saw that the brat was already busy again. So he didn't bother with the other party and instead focus on resting. Since Rhea and Ruth were going to that other crack, the two of them might not be able to come back anytime soon. During this period of time, Samuel planned on resting and waited for them to go back. Through using the teleportation formation, Rhea teleported directly to the crack. Ruth looked around, not surprised that Rhea had set up a teleportation formation here. The two continents should have reached an agreement and allowed her to do as she pleased. Moreover, if either side needed help, it would be possible to send more people through the teleportation formation. Follow my steps. Rhea walked over towards the crack with familiarity and didn't seem to feel anything about the formation there. In fact, Ruth herself couldn't really sense the formation's existence. Without Rhea's guidance, it would be impossible for her to find it. Swish! The two of them entered the crack and was directly greeted by wind blades. Both reacted accordingly, avoiding to the side and looked at their opponent. At the same time, Rhea glanced around and arched her eyebrows slightly when she saw that they were located in the forest. It seemed that all of them have different terrains, and even if there were some people who were the same, it would not be here. Perhaps the people from the other continents. Rhea was not entirely sure. Swish! Jleb! The arrows were directly pierced on the rank 7 magic beasts at the front while Rhea moved to the side and avoided the attack of the other rank 7 magic beasts in front of her. She had to say that these rank 7 magic beasts were quite annoying. Since they were in the forest, the rank 7 magic beasts were not that strong in defense, but they have strong agility and also quite strong in terms of concealment. At least some of them were. Moving her body to the side, Rhea directly escaped to the distance and watched as Ruth fought against these magic beasts. She could see that Ruth was getting faster in her attack. But her accuracy never dropped in the slightest bit. Is this the strength of a powerful archer? Rhea looked over curiously. It was rare to see an archer making a move since Rhea didn't really have that many friends. And archers were not exactly the most popular profession. There were not many people who wanted to take over this profession because of the restriction that came with it. Anyway, most of them were not very good at close combat. But seeing Ruth agilely avoided these rank 7 magic beasts' attack while still using her bow and arrows from a distance, Rhea nodded in approval. Ruth is pretty strong. At the very least, she knew very well that no returnees were weak. If Ruth can help the Green Planet in the future, the safety of the people here will be more guaranteed. Rhea was thinking to herself. She will naturally not rely on other people too much when it was time for the battle in the future, but it would be reassuring to see that other continents were not directly preset to the ground and unable to do anything. At the very least, they would have hope for the future. In this way, the pressure would not always be on Continent Z. Thinking about this, Rhea couldn't help but smile slightly. Bang! As the last rank 7 magic beasts fell down, Ruth heaved a sigh of relief and looked at the side where Rhea was watching the battle with great interest. It was obvious that she had no intention to come forward and helped. But a battle of such intensity was just right for Ruth. Thank you, Ruth said. I'm not doing it for you. Rhea shook her head and jumped down from the tree. But this terrain is quite interesting. I used to practice in the forest, Ruth replied with a smile. She looked at the environment here and her eyes were a bit lost for a moment. The days in that world flashed by her eyes and for a moment, Ruth didn't know whether she should feel that it was a good thing for her to be alive or not, because she seemed to miss those people again. Train well. Only by living can you have hope for the future, Rhea said from the side. Ruth blinked her eyes and then smiled. That's right. Is that why your best move is to run away? Ruth asked teasingly. When Rhea heard this, her expression collapsed. That's called strategic retreat. even though it was actually running away. Please don't say it that way. She didn't want to be looked at as deserter. Forget it. There didn't seem to be any difference whatsoever. Ria could only sigh and then spread her hands. What can I do? I value my life greatly and didn't want to die so easily. Ruth rolled her eyes. I don't think any of us are willing to seek death, so your statement isn't very convincing. That? Ria struggled and then gave up. She didn't even know how she could convince others about her behavior. Anyway, it was indeed the truth that she designed the teleportation formation's battle style in order to ensure that she could escape at any time when necessary. For Ria, her life is very valuable and she didn't want to take unnecessary risk, because if she were to die, then there would be nothing more to talk about the future. Anyway, she will only take risk when she had a certain degree of victory. Otherwise, it would be nothing more than reckless move. Chuckle. Ruth suppressed her laughter and then said, I'll be here for the time being. Do you want to stay with me? Forget it. I'll just explore the areas and see if I can find something valuable. Ria replied without hesitation. She was not close with Ruth, and even if the other party was not a bad person, there was no need for her to spend so much time with the other party. After all, the two of them didn't have that much foundation of trust. Ria knew that she would not attack the other party. But what about Ruth? She didn't know. Ruth nodded when she heard Ria's words. Then, let's gather here again in 5 days. 5 days? Ria arched her eyebrows in surprise. Are you sure that you will be done in such a short period of time? While Ria herself also spent around 6 days to clean up the crack that belonged to her, most of the time was spent on practicing. After all, Runemaster was not exactly a profession that fought on the front line. A wrong that only applied to traditional Runemaster. Since Ria often soloed her mission and went on her own to fight those magic beasts, she was more of an all-rounder than anything else. No matter what, it was not like she couldn't fight. She often stayed on the front line too. Yes, it's enough. Ruth smiled. She had only managed to bargain some time with the officials, and Ruth knew very well that they would not be willing to give her so much convenience. If the passage was not opened by the time she finished her training, she would have to work for them for a period of time. Though, based on her instinct, Ruth felt that it would be unnecessary. She would not tell this to them, though. Okay. In this way, Ria and Ruth went their separate ways and explored the forest. Ria moved around and sighed to herself. Sometimes, she felt amazed how the crack was able to produce such a well-crafted world. It was completely different from the time when the cracks were nothing more than tunnels on the ground that was gloomy and hard to travel around. Ria herself felt that this crack has evolved so much. Seeing the fruits on the tree, Ria picked some of them and recognized them as the species from that world. Is the crack somehow connected to that world? The two worlds were very different, and Ria couldn't think that the crack has some connection with it. Because that world should have been destroyed by the grand magic beast's tide. Ria never had the chance to see it, but she had heard about it from Samuel and other returnees. Their eyes, when they talked about that incident, was filled with deep unwillingness. They had worked hard for a long time, but they still failed to protect that planet. What awaited them was nothing more than destruction. Now that the green planet might experience the same thing, even if they have a shorter time in order to practice and get stronger, they would not give up so easily and will work hard to protect their homeland. They have lost it once, so they didn't want to lose it for the second time. Swish! Moving around in the forest, Ria looked at the rank 7 magic beasts in the distance, and after thinking for a moment, she chose to avoid it. She had no interest in fighting right now and just wanted to collect some resources. These rank 7 magic beasts could be left for Ruth to deal with. Anyway, that woman's strength was by no means weak, and she should be able to deal with these magic beasts on her own. 5 days passed by quietly. Just when Ria was waiting near the entrance of the crack while looking at the lush forest in front of her, a message appeared in her mind. It was not words but an image. The image of an island and stone formation on top of a flat hill. In the middle of the stone formation were silver-colored lines, intertwining each other in beautiful pattern. The image was really beautiful, and Ria also recognized the silver-colored lines as runes. It was a teleportation formation. Moreover, this was a very special teleportation formation that Ria was not able to make yet. She had only seen it in her teacher's note. An ancient teleportation formation, which was said to be able to teleport between worlds, and it was also extremely stable. It was said that this teleportation formation was first built in order to let people migrate. Ria looked at the image in her mind and knew that it was time for them to go. Swish! Ruth returned, and from her expression, Ria knew that the other party should have received the message too. "Shall we go?" Ria asked. If Ruth didn't want to go, then she would have to leave the other party inside and then solve the formation outside. After all, she had no intention to stay in this crack any longer. Of course, she would have to provide explanation to the higher-ups. Damn, it was so troublesome. Thinking about various things that she had to do, Ria felt that these people who were used to various formalities were awesome in their own way. She definitely couldn't be like them. Yes. Ruth nodded. Hearing Ruth's answer, Ria threw away the various things that she might have to do if the other party refused. The two of them went out of the crack and then headed over to Jonas Nolan's crack. To be exact, Ria went on her own because Ruth had to meet with some people there. She found that Jonas Nolan and Samuel had already come out of the crack and currently waiting for her. Jonas Nolan waved his hand in friendly manner. "I have to go now. Good luck to you two. You should take care too." Samuel nodded at Jonas Nolan, who waved his hand nonchalantly. Ria arched her eyebrows. "Your relationship increased leaps and bounds after only 5 days?" She could see that the two of them had inexplicably gotten closer after 5 days. Even if it was not to the level where they could trust each other, but it was somewhat closer to that of friends. "Jonas Nolan is a smart kid," Samuel replied with a shrug. "And that kid has been praising his relationship with Ria several times, which pleased Samuel greatly. Of course, he had no plan to tell Ria about this. The few soldiers who watched Samuel being coaxed by Jonas Nolan, who praised how well matched these two people were, men. They were definitely not sour because of the inexplicable dog food. Definitely not. "Oh well, the island is in Continent X, so we might have to come back and talk with Uncle first," Ria said helplessly. The image showed the surrounding of the island very clearly, and the fact that it was not far from where the other cracks showed that it was in Continent X. Due to diplomatic problems, they couldn't depart immediately. But it shouldn't take that much time. Samuel and Ria went back to Cydia base, and within a day's time, the higher-ups had already finished their negotiation. The main reason was because they couldn't stop these returnees even if they wanted to. Rather than making trouble with these people, it would be better to let them leave directly through the teleportation formation instead of making trouble on the green planet. Anyway, Continent Y had enough of the 3 returnees. Ria didn't know the details anymore, but she heard that the 3 of them refused to cooperate with the officials and nearly fought against each other. The tension was high, and none of the 3 returnees were willing to leave the green planet. This made the situation really bad. "The returnee from Continent X, Leon, will come and greet us. The island where he's located is nearby, and it's said that he will help in case it's necessary," Samuel said when they were on the plane. The distance between Continent Z and Continent X was a bit far, so they took the plane instead of the helicopter. Though the two of them would have preferred using helicopter instead, because they would be able to look outside if it was helicopter instead of the plane. Thankfully, there were not many flying magic beasts around this area because it had been cleaned over by them all forcefully some time ago. Peter and Dina were also going to Continent X, but they took different plane because their location was far away from each other. Dina was not far from the crack while Peter was still on the beach. These locations were far away from Ria, and there were no teleportation formation nearby. So Continent Z could only prepare more airplane to transport these returnees to Continent X. Ria didn't know what the higher-ups would feel, though. All the returnees from Continent Z wanted to leave the green planet, and they couldn't do anything but to support them. Once they left, it would be up to them to protect Continent Z. Hopefully, there wouldn't be any emergency. "Leon," Ria repeated and then frowned. "I have never met him before." Not all returnees knew each other, and her meeting Jonas Nolan was only a coincidence. She didn't even know the other returnees aside from hearing about their reputation and deeds in that world. Meeting personally? There was no chance for them to meet in that world, and Rhea didn't have much expectation either. After all, Rhea knew very well that these returnees all have their own lives. I have seen him. Samuel thought for a moment and then said, he's a good and relatively simple person. His fighting strength is not very strong, but his mana control is one of the best aside from you. Of course, his best achievements are his weapons that he refined. In that world, Samuel had already met with Leon. The two of them were not that close to each other, but they knew the other party's characters to a certain degree. In a way, Samuel knew that Leon is quite good. At least, he didn't have to worry about himself wanting to kill the other party just like when he saw Murin. Okay. Rhea nodded. The plane landed and the two of them went down. To be honest, Rhea felt that Continent Z was treating them too well. Almost their every request would be fulfilled, so she also left behind a lot of things to Mr. Jones, and it was up to him whether he wanted to donate it to the continent or to use it to negotiate some terms. Anyway, she believed that he would know the proportions. Welcome to Continent X. A soldier came forward and greeted Samuel and Rhea. There's no airport in the designated island and everyone had to travel by ship. It has been prepared and we're just waiting for the other returnees to arrive. Has the other arrived? Mr. Peter and Ms. Dina has already arrived. The two of them are staying inside with Mr. Leon. Okay. Samuel and Rhea followed behind the soldier and walked closer to the waiting room. Even though it was called waiting room, it was actually a beach view villa with a lot of soldiers protecting the place. From the way it looked like, Leon has a very important position in Continent X. So much for hiding his identity for a long time, Rhea murmured. Samuel also nodded helplessly. The two of them knew that Leon has been hiding his identity for a long time before the second earthquake forced him to appear in front of everyone and announce the fact that he's the returnees. Moreover, Leon was not able to fight freely on the front line. It was the soldiers who had to step forward and used the powerful weapon he gave them to fight against the magic beasts. Mr. Samuel and Ms. Rhea from Continent Z are here. Hey Samuel, Rhea. You two are here. Peter energetically jumped up from the sofa and waved his hand energetically. Seeing Peter, the two of them nodded politely. Rhea's eyes couldn't help but fall on Peter's clothes and her lips twitched slightly. She could see that he was wearing the clothes that had been specifically designed for him underneath. But what was with that bright red jacket? It was really eye-catching. It's been a while, Peter. Samuel nodded, and he could sense that Peter was getting stronger after advancing to rank 7. It seemed that his training over the years were not for nothing. Hey Dot. Peter laughed. On the side, Dina nodded politely at the two of them and then focused her attention back to her phone. She didn't have much interest in socializing, especially when the other party were also fellow returnees. Having met with these two people back in City J base, Dina felt that it would be better to stay away from them. She didn't want to be suspected of wanting to take their mana. TSK. Even if they were the only magician and magic warriors left on the entire green planet, Dina would never dare to scheme against them. Just from the fact that she had suffered a lot in the past because of them, she didn't really want to cause more trouble for herself. It was already good enough that they would not bother with each other. Anything more would be very troublesome. Hello, I'm Leon. A young man stepped forward and introduced himself politely. He had bright red hair and his face showed his youthful countenance. The aura around him was weaker, but it was really stable. Rhea looked at the young man and smiled politely. Hello, I'm Rhea. Samuel replied and then arched his eyebrows. You always slack off in terms of advancing your own rank. Can you please not open up my black history upon meeting again, Sam? Leon couldn't help but complain when he heard Samuel's words. Your rank is too low. Leon smiled helplessly. He also knew about this, but he never had any plan to make big splashes like Samuel and the others. If it was not because the higher-ups told him that the returnees who had reached rank 7 would receive a message. It was estimated that he would reject the higher-ups' request for him to come here and would rather stay in his small village. I'll catch up soon enough. It should be possible for me to reach rank 7 within a year's time, Leon said peacefully and then added, Do you need me to prepare some weapons for you? No, I have my own weapon. Samuel shook his head. In that world, Leon had helped Samuel to prepare weapons to fight. Of course, Samuel paid for those weapons and didn't get it for free. But it was also because of this that the two of them knew each other. Okay. How's the crack? Samuel remembered something and asked. I didn't dare to go in and the soldiers are protecting the place tightly, Leon replied. I will try to go inside after reaching mid-rank 6 so that I have more strength to protect myself. Before that, I better stay behind and not hope too much. Samuel nodded. Rhea glanced in the direction where the crack was located and then moved her eyes away. She looked on the second floor and her eyes flickered slightly. There was a familiar presence there. But is it? My girlfriend is upstairs and it's not convenient for her to meet you, Leon admitted frankly when he saw Rhea seemed to be interested in the person upstairs. He knew that upon reaching rank 7, their perception would increase rapidly, and it was basically impossible for Leon to hide the fact that there was someone over there. It would be better to be honest and then prevent them from meeting with his girlfriend directly. After all, her strength was not even as strong as him. You look for an ordinary person to be your girlfriend? Dina's expression was a bit strange when she looked at Leon. The person upstairs had some strength, but it was really weak in her perception. At most, rank 4? Someone with such strength could even attract Leon's attention? A relationship didn't have to look at their strength, Leon said with a smile. But the look in his eyes were a bit dangerous. Even though he was not Dina's opponent right now, it might not be the same when he deployed all of the weapons he had prepared for himself. At least, Dina wouldn't be able to kill him easily even if she wanted to. Dina saw Leon's look and instantly lose interest. She didn't have much intention to pry on other people's relationship and only felt that it was a waste of time. Peter looked at Dina imperceptibly and then turned to look at Leon. It's fine if you don't want us to meet, but you can actually place her in other mansions, right? In other words, if she had been staying in other places, it would be impossible for her presence to attract their attention. They were not people who liked to pry on other people's secret, so it would be impossible for them to pay attention to someone who was further away. She wants to be here and the soldiers are limited. Leon shook his head. The situation in Continent X was not very good, especially because he was not a frontline fighter. Pena's inaction and the fact that he didn't want to leave his kingdom made them realize that Pena was turning that place into his own territory. It was obvious that he wouldn't want to leave even if he was ordered to. And there were already many soldiers who have to sacrifice themselves in order to prevent these magic beasts from running all over Continent X. Just thinking about it made Leon feel sad. So many people died. He had tried his best to provide them with weapons and so on, but it was far from enough. These magic beasts were too strong and the soldiers had to use their own bodies to block the advance of the magic beasts. Moreover, these magic beasts were still the weakened version. They still have 1 year. And within this 1 year, everyone had to grow stronger. Otherwise, what awaited them would be nothing more than an annihilation. Oh, Samuel nodded. Rhea was still staring upstairs and then silently took out her phone. The signal has long been restored and communication between continents were also possible. She looked at their chat group that was talking about various funny things before moving towards the private message. Little soft, Rhea Claire, are you in Continent X? I want a red packet. Claire, huh? How did you know that, Rhea? I only tell you that I was outside and inconvenient to come to Cydia base, right? Upstairs, Claire was playing with her phone while waiting for Leon to finish entertaining the people below. After all, Leon is also a returnee from that world and he's the most suitable person to contact the returnees from other continents. It would be better than letting other soldiers come forward and possibly met with these returnees who like to make trouble. Anyway, the reputation of the returnees were varied. Some of them were very good, and some others were simply the scourge. Claire had no interest to meet with these people and Leon also didn't want her mana to be locked by these people. So she chose to wait patiently upstairs while playing with her phone. Thankfully, there was some entertainment here. Her most frequently visited place is definitely the forum because there were so many talented netizens who shared various posts. There were also a lot of interesting videos about the magicians who used their magics. These people have long lost their reservedness and often used various methods to showcase their uniqueness. Claire had a lot of laugh when reading it. Just when she was browsing, she received message from Ria. Seeing the content, Claire was confused. How did Ria know so much? She only knew that Amelia, Ria, and the others were all staying in City Base and had been training madly. Amelia kept on complaining about her training with her brother. Ruby was busy in the laboratory. Ria seemed to be exploring various places. Sophia had some conflict with her family and left City Base to explore various places. To be honest, Claire didn't know the exact details because they didn't always stay online in their chat groups. Many times, they were too busy to chat, and Claire herself didn't want to bother them. Besides, she herself was also training herself to be a magician. Leon helped her to practice and gave her meditation technique that suited herself, allowing her to become stronger during this period of time. Though her desire to become stronger was not as strong as him, so she didn't practice as much as Leon. Claire was confused. And below, Ria's lips twitched slightly when she heard Claire's answer. She hadn't met Claire for more than a year's time ever since their time in the university before the first earthquake happened. At that time, she has only started to recover her strength, so she couldn't pinpoint other people's presence so clearly unless she marked them. Since she never thought that the world will truly change like this, Ria naturally didn't mark her friends. She only knew that they were doing well through their chat groups. Even though Amelia often worried for Claire, they could see that Claire seemed to be happy and doing well in a place they didn't know. Claire never said her location in details. The others also didn't ask, because they knew that even if they asked, the only person who could head over is Ria. But Ria definitely didn't want to come over for no reason. Now that Ria is in Continent X. Little soft, Ria Claire, can you tell me whether your boyfriend name is Leon? I want a red packet. Claire. Ria. Did you investigate me? I want a red packet. Claire, no, that's not right. You don't have the ability to investigate people like the other two. Your family can't support you. Little soft, Ria, I didn't. It's Leon himself who said that his girlfriend is upstairs. I want a red packet. Claire, huh? You met with Leon? I want a red packet. Claire, the hell is he saying that his girlfriend is upstairs? Wait, Ria, you're not saying that you're downstairs right now, right? I want a red packet. Claire, what are you doing here? I want a red packet. Claire, no. You can't be one of those returnees, right? Claire looked like she was hit hard when she came to this conclusion. She stood up and almost wanted to rush downstairs when she remembered Leon's warning to her. He didn't want her to appear in front of other returnees, and it would not be convenient for her to appear in front of these people. Many of them looked like decent gentlemen, but Leon said that many of them were actually cunning people. If they were not careful enough, what awaited them would be nothing more than their own demise. Leon didn't want her to get hurt, so Claire also stopped her footsteps and pursed her lips. She looked at her phone and an idea came to her mind. Since she can't go down, how about asking Ria to come up? Well, let her texted Leon first. Downstairs, Leon was puzzled when he saw Ria focusing on her phone, and then looked at him with a complicated look. The look in her eyes. It reminded him of the time when he followed Claire to meet with her parents, because her siblings and relatives were also looking at him with the same look. Before he could think further, his phone vibrated. He took it out and saw the message from Claire. Leon fell silent. He looked at Ria with an awkward smile and said, "She wants to see you, Ria." "I know." Ria also received message from Claire, telling her that she asked Leon to let Ria come up because it was not convenient for her to come down. At this moment, Ria just wanted to know how did Claire ended up with Leon. That man didn't trick her, right? Even though Ria was not that close with Claire, she's still her friends in the university back then. Moreover, Ria still remembered that she was being protected by Claire from time to time during her confrontation with her stepsister. These girls would not say anything loudly in front of her face. But when it was really necessary, they would stand by her side and will never truly leave her. It was also because of this that Ria still paid attention to their chat group from time to time and hoped that all of them could live well. Now that Ria found out that Claire is with Leon, she gave a sidelong glance at Leon before walking to the stairs. If Leon dared to make things difficult to Claire, then she would not be polite with him. Even though Ria didn't say anything, her gaze made Leon felt as if he was sitting on pins and needles. The last time he felt this way, it seemed to be when he met with Claire's parents. It couldn't be right? Leon felt that this conjecture was absurd. But looking at the message in his phone, he had the feeling that the relationship between Ria and Claire might be extraordinary, and it wouldn't be easy for him to be together with her now. He tried his best to push the thought out of his mind. At this time, Ria didn't bother to pay attention to Leon. She had to confirm the truth with Claire, so she better go up and check with Claire directly. She stood up and walked upstairs without hesitation. What had happened in the past few years exactly? Ria sighed in her heart. After separation from the beginning of the earthquake, Ria had never seen Claire again. Even if they still communicated in their chat group and shared the news from their side, Ria never met with the other party. Coupled with the fact that she was also busy with her own practice, Ria basically had no time to care about Claire. Now that she had the news, she better record a video or something and shared it with Amelia later. The one who missed Claire the most is Amelia, and Ria felt that she also hoped the two of them could meet again. They were already prepared to stay far away after their graduation, as it was basically impossible for them to be so close after graduation. But if Claire were to marry Leon, she might not be able to leave Continent X in the future. Thinking about this, Ria felt a bit irritable. She really wanted to come and pulled Leon over for a good talk. Drap, drap. In just a moment, Ria disappeared to the second floor. The others were left behind, unsure about the current situation, and they could only turn to look at Leon. Samuel arched his eyebrows and seemed to think about something. He remembered that his sister seemed to have a few female friends who have good relationship with each other. Because Amelia often complained aloud, he remembered that one of their friends went overseas for a vacation. Ever since then, she couldn't meet with the other party anymore. Aside from the fact that she was still alive and doing well out there, Amelia couldn't meet with the other party. Couldn't be such a coincidence, right? Samuel turned to look at Leon. Your girlfriend is from Continent Z, right? If it's about diplomatic problem, I have already communicated with them, Leon said weakly. He had to negotiate a lot with her family members at that time. Remembering that time, Leon felt his legs were a bit weak. Her family loved Claire very much. Claire might come from a relatively rich family, but she was loved greatly by her family members, which made her and Amelia often act unrestrained in the past. Because the two of them knew that no matter what kind of trouble they encountered, their family will definitely help them to clean up the messes. It was also because of this that Claire had close relationship with Amelia. So when they found out that Claire wanted to have a relationship with someone from different continent, they started to look at Leon with extremely hostile looks. Friends are fine. No one could say anything about the kind of friend their children made, and it was their business. After all, the parents couldn't accompany their children for their entire life. But partner? Claire's parents had to scrutinize Leon from head to toe and dug out everything about him just to reassure themselves. They would not let their daughter suffer, so it was Leon who had to suffer. Considering that the two of them came from different continents, there would be some problem if it was not settled where they would be going in the end. Moreover, Leon is a returnee, so the officials were paying close attention to him. How could they be willing to let him leave Continent X? Well, in short, Leon was troubled a lot. Now, he found out that Ria is actually his girlfriend's best friend in university, and the two of them hadn't cut off contact even after not seeing each other for more than a year's time. Leon felt headache. If he allowed himself to get beaten up once, Ria will let him go, right? He swore that he's definitely sincere. Claire did tell him that she has a lot of friends in Continent Z, but he thought that they were all ordinary people. Even though they might not be pleased with him taking their friend to be his bride, but he was sure that he could coax them one way or another. Anyway, girls like shopping or something like that, he could buy something to appease them. But when this figure was replaced by Ria, who's very famous in their community and some of the higher-up circle, Leon felt that he might not be able to escape unscathed. After all, there was no telling whether she would influence Claire, and then, Leon sighed. He started to think about whether he had offended Ria in the past or not, but it seemed that he had never even met with her before. So everything should be fine, hopefully. No, But I think that my sister also know your girlfriend, Samuel said slowly. They're from the same university. Leon, let me die. How could Claire have connection with two most powerful returnees from Continent Z? There were so many people in the world, and he just had to be with someone who has such a strong interpersonal skill and knew so many people. He swore that after this, he will definitely ask Claire clearly about her friends in the university. What kind of sacred university is this to allow so many talented people to gather together? Moreover, for them to be close friends, Leon wouldn't believe that they were just ordinary friends there. After all, a university is so big and it was hard to meet with people from different faculty at normal times. How did this happen in the first place? Leon couldn't understand. And Leon felt that his future would be bleak. The only good thing is that neither Samuel or Rhea would be staying on the green planet for the next period of time. Otherwise, he was sure that he would suffer. Wow! Peter laughed out loud when he saw this and felt that Leon was really unlucky. He had seen Rhea's expression and guessed that Leon might not end well after Rhea finished speaking with that girl upstairs. Dina shook her head at their interaction, not very interested in this matter. But then again, fate is quite something. Upstairs, Rhea looked at Claire, who had an embarrassed look and sighed deeply. She drew runes so that their conversation couldn't be heard by those downstairs before she pulled Claire closer. It's good that you're doing well. Looking at Claire's appearance, Rhea could see that Claire was doing very well in Continent X. Even though Rhea was not very close to Claire, they still chatted for quite some time and had a lot of interactions with each other when they were in the university. Moreover, Claire often brought Rhea out to play for fun along with Sophia. Well, it was the memorable university days that Rhea couldn't quite forget. The two of them become friends from those days, and now, Rhea could feel that Claire didn't seem to care about these things and was still as sincere as before. This relieved Rhea greatly because she could sense that sometimes Sophia was a bit more restrained in front of her. The difference in status between them made Sophia uncomfortable, and Rhea couldn't really do anything about it. Unlike the easygoing Amelia, Sophia was indeed more sophisticated and had learned many things due to her upbringing. She might be more concerned about this and thus decided to leave City A base to walk on her own path. I should be the one who said that to you. Claire pouted and patted Rhea's back before releasing her hand from hugging the other party. She felt that Rhea had grown up a lot. Back then, Rhea was still the poor kid whom they often helped. But now, thinking about Rhea's identity as a returnee, Claire felt a bit complicated. I'm doing well. Rhea smiled brightly. I can't tell you everything, but I'm indeed one of the returnees of the Green Planet. Claire nodded. She had this conjecture when she heard Rhea was downstairs. Who else could be here but the returnees who would be going to the teleportation formation and left the Green Planet for a period of time? They would be going to a completely different world. A dangerous world at that. Thinking about this, Claire looked at Rhea worriedly. She hadn't seen her friends for a long time, and now that they finally met, are they going to be separated again? Claire missed Amelia, Sophia, and Ruby more than Rhea, since the first two were more of a troublemakers. Ruby and Rhea were more serious in their study, and it was hard to drag them to play. But no matter what, they were still her friends whom she cared for. Even if she could bear with separation, but thinking about where Rhea would go, Claire felt really worried. Do you really have to go? Rhea was stunned at Claire's question, and then a wry smile appeared on her lips. Don't think too much, Claire. I leave on my own accord, and I will protect myself well. She hadn't had enough of living yet, and Rhea knew that she wouldn't seek her own death recklessly. Even if she were to go to that world, she will definitely set a lot of teleportation formation. That way, she would have a lot of escape routes. Rhea didn't want to be brave and stupid. Her life is also very important, both for herself and for those who believed in her. Okay then. Claire nodded and sighed. In a place she couldn't see, Rhea had experienced a long 4 years in a completely different world. Even though Claire didn't know the details of these returnees, Leon was still kind enough to tell her that his mental age should be older than what he looked like on the surface. Their experience in that world had helped to shape them to be a completely different person. Because in that world, there was no place for the so-called kindness. It was a world where only the strong could survive and the weak will die if they didn't have anyone to rely on. For them to become stronger, Leon didn't know how many times he had to kill others and stain his own hands. Because if he didn't kill them, he would have been the one to die. Other returnees were the same. No matter what they used to be before their inexplicable transmigration, they would be forced to live in the cruel world. But none of them ever said anything about how hard it is. What other people could see now is the result of their hard work for a full 4 years in the form of information. It was transmitted widely all over the world, allowing many people to be able to practice and become stronger. Without them working so hard, it would be impossible for the information to be obtained so widely. And afterwards, they donated it to the continent. Of course, they also have some preferential treatment and so on. Some of them even traded the information they had for the resources they needed, which was the form of cooperation that these returnees liked the most. Because most of them prefer freedom over the resources. Leon himself was the same. He didn't really want to be controlled by the continent, but when he was truly facing the question of whether he should continue to hide himself or showcase his real ability to help, he decisively chose the latter. Because Leon didn't want to see so many people die when he obviously could do something to help. I should be the one who asked you questions. Ria raised her hand and flicked Claire's forehead. You never told us that you have a boyfriend now. Ah, I didn't mean to hide it. But you're all so far away and it's not like I can send his picture over. Claire's expression turned sad. After she knew that Leon is a returnee, she understood why he was so resistant with her taking his picture before. It was obvious that he was worried that someone will make use of his picture and his identity. Ria thought about the fact that there were many people who were also thinking of taking her picture and fell into silence. Well, tell me more about how you two meet each other? I can share this gossip in the group too. Ria. Ha ha ha. The two girls were obviously having fun with gossip and Claire has red face when she explained how the two people met. Naturally, Ria also shared this with Amelia and the others. Their chat groups instantly become lively. The prettiest 5-person chat group. Little Soft, Ria, pic of Claire.jpg. Everyone. I have finally met with Claire after such a long time has passed. I want a red packet. Claire, you speak as if we hadn't met for a long time. It's only been a year's time. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. A year's time is still a long time, Claire. Ah, you still look as pretty as before. I really want to meet you. I want a red packet, Claire. That's going to be difficult. I'm on the continent X and Ria only came here because she has some business. I want a red packet, Claire. Speaking of which, why did none of you ever tell me that Ria is a returnee? Claire is angry.jpg. Little Soft, Ria, ahahaha. That's because we don't really know how to tell you. Ruby, is this really something that you can publicize? From what I know, Ria's identity has been kept a secret for a long time and not many people know about it. The only thing they know is that there's a returnee on continent Z. Pampered baby, Amelia, is it really a secret? I have never thought about it before. Ruby, I want a red packet, Claire. I want a red packet, Claire, but it's good to see you all doing fine here. I really miss you all. Little Soft, Ria, we all miss you too, haha. Who would have thought that you will end up on continent X and you never tell us? I want a red packet, Claire. Guilty look.jpg. I want a red packet. Claire, I didn't mean to hide it. I was traveling before the earthquake happened and in the beginning, there's no connection whatsoever. After the connection has been repaired, I basically didn't know how to tell you that I'm not on continent Z. I want a red packet, Claire. I thought that you'll be worried about me, so I figured out that it's better if I didn't say anything and just stay silent about this matter. If the situation improved after a few years, I believe that we all can meet with each other again. Ria silently looked at Claire, who gave her an innocent smile, hoping that the other party would not blame her for hiding this matter. If you know that we'll be worried, you should have told us from the beginning. Amelia's brother is also downstairs, you know, Ria said helplessly. With Samuel's connection and ability, it would be easy for him to confirm Claire's situation, thus stopping Amelia from worrying about the other party. After all, Claire's family background might be good, but it was far from comparable to the Jones family. If one had to say, the Jones family was several times better than her and held important position on continent Z. Ahaha! Claire scratched the back of her head. Tisk, tisk. Ria saw Claire's look and felt rather helpless about this. She knew that Claire could see that their own situation was not very good and didn't want to make others pay attention too much to her. After all, it was difficult enough for Claire to stay here by herself. Wait, by herself? Are you here on your own, or are there your family members around? Ria suddenly recalled something. My family members are also here, Claire quickly said. I went on a travel with my family members and everyone are here. If I have been completely alone, it would be impossible for me to survive. She knew herself well, and her ability to survive by herself in the foreign lands was definitely zero. It was basically impossible for her to go on her own. She's not that capable. Only by staying close with her family member would she feel a sense of security and made sure that she would not make any mistake whatsoever. That's good. Ria was also relieved. After all, she could still remember how Amelia, Sophia, and Claire made trouble overnight. And it was Ruby and Ria who came over to drag these three drunkards back and called their family members. That was their biggest blunder that they ever made. Ever since then, the three of them were more well-behaved and didn't dare to do too much. But it didn't mean that they didn't make trouble. Just take a look at how many times Amelia ran away from home. Even Ria felt headache when she thought about this matter. It was really annoying. Huh? Sophia is not in City A Base anymore. City A Base. Amelia was honestly surprised when she saw the chat group lit up. After all, she knew that Ria was going to go to Continent X and might take a long time before she returned. During this period of time, she herself was planning to train and play with Arnold from time to time. But seeing that Ria had met with Claire, Amelia was somewhat envious. Ah, if only I can also go to Continent X, Amelia said with pity. She knew very well that based on her status and relationship with Samuel, it was unlikely for the Jones family to be reassured and willing to let her go. Amelia knew this very well. It was also because of this that she could only look at the chat group with some envy. Still, hearing that Claire was doing well in Continent X, Amelia felt that it was really good. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, yes? I'm not in City A Base and I left some time ago. Have I never said it here before? Confused look. JPG. Little soft. Ria, I don't remember either. Maybe someone did mention it? I want a red packet. Claire, I don't remember. I want a red packet, Claire, and if you're not with the others, you have to protect yourself well, Sophia. Don't think I don't know that you're actually very weak and had to be protected by others. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. Ah, you're so long-winded, Claire. Of course I'll protect myself well and not let anyone take advantage of me. Besides, my brother is still here and I'm doing well while traveling all over the world. You will never know how much the world had changed. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. Speaking of which, we also met with some of our old friends in other bases. It's great that they're still alive and I hope that everyone would live well in the future. I want a red packet. Claire, let's hope that the future will get better. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. Pampered baby, Amelia. TSK, you're just trying to divert our attention with these things. Sophia, don't think I don't know about the dramas in your family. Then again, it's good that you're outside and didn't have to deal with them. But if you want to, I can actually ask my brother for help instead of forcing you to go out like this. I want a red packet. Claire, huh? Did those B** stars did something to you, Sophia? I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. No, everything is fine. My brother can handle it, and in my opinion, it's also better to go out of City A Base. While it's safe and protected with Samuel, Amelia's brother, and Ria there, but I still think that it's better to go out. Little soft, Ria tilting head. JPG. I'm the prettiest girl. Sophia, don't get me wrong, Ria. You're very good and all, but I think that if I and my brother stay with you all the time, we'll never have the chance to grow on our own and will always be protected by others. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. I want to grow up on my own and live my own life without the need to be protected all the time. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. I'm grateful for your protection, but I don't want to live that kind of life for the rest of my life. Besides, while we're best friends, we all have our own life and Little soft, Ria, don't worry so much, Sophia. I can understand and I know that you have your own goal and life aspiration. It's impossible to restrain you and your brother. I believe that neither Samuel or me will want to put pressure on you. You just have to live your life to the fullest out there. I'm the prettiest girl. Sophia, I definitely will. Pampered baby. Amelia, that's a must. It's really worrying that you and brother Stephen come out on your own. If you encounter any situation that you can't handle, you have to tell us and we'll do our best to help you. I want a red packet, Claire. I can't help much, but I hope that you will still share the news outside to us. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, of course I will. Little soft, Ria, I don't know how long I'll go. But if you really do need help, you can ask Amelia for it. I have left behind a lot of magic scrolls and so on with her. Pampered baby. Amelia, I'm a rich woman now, ha 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 ha. Hands on hips and laugh freely. JPG. I want a red packet. Claire, Ria. You're pampering Amelia too much. How could you possibly do this? She will definitely take advantage of you and robbed a lot of good things from you. Pampered baby, Amelia TSK. Just say that you're jealous. Bleh. JPG. I want a red packet, Claire. Amelia, you better not come here if you didn't want to be beaten up. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. From what I know, Amelia is already a powerful magic warrior. But Ria, are you going somewhere? Little soft, Ria, Did I forget to tell you? I'm going on a long trip and because of some reasons, I wouldn't be able to contact you once I go. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. What? Will it be dangerous? Ruby. It's indeed dangerous, but when do you see Ria being afraid of danger? She will definitely charge forward without hesitation even if she see danger when it's necessary. Little soft, Ria, Ruby, I don't think that I'm that bad. Right? Ruby. Then can you tell me how many times you have been living in the crack? Pampered baby, Amelia TSK. TSK. I'm on Ruby's side this time. You have to take care of yourself, Ria. I want a red packet, Claire. I'm also worried. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. You. Forget it. I know that with your position, you will definitely have to go and didn't have any other option. But if it's necessary, I hope that you can rely on us too. Even if we can't really help you much in terms of hard power, we're still your best friends and we're willing to accompany you to play around for a long time. Little soft, Riapft. I know, thanks girls. Pampered baby, Amelia, it's what we should do. I want a red packet, Claire, of course. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, smile. JPG. Ruby. Focus on your own task and live well. Who knows what you will face? Little soft, Ria, I will. Outside, Ria didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw the conversation turned into a round of concerned talk about her future. But it's really good. The corner of Ria's lips curled up slightly. Even though it was not impossible for her to stay in seclusion after coming back to the Green Planet and all, but Ria didn't want to, because she knew very well that it's rare to have so many friends who were willing to go on thick and thin with her all the time. They might not be the best fighters and many of them were weak, but they were all friends who were willing to side with her at all times. For Ria, this is enough. The only pity is that Victoria is no longer here. The previously 6 members group had turned into 5 people. But it was obvious that the atmosphere between the 5 people had become even better and everyone trust each other deeply. Otherwise, they would not have talked about almost everything in the chat group. As for the chat group's safety, well, they couldn't really do anything about it. The one with the best computer skill was originally Ria and Claire. One has returned her knowledge to the teacher after spending so many years in that world. The other one was living far away and didn't have time to care about these things. Besides, even if they wanted to, it didn't seem to be plausible. Right now, there were a lot of limitations for connection between continents and perhaps some people were already watching their conversation. Ria felt annoyed when she thought about this. But there was nothing much that she could do about it. Anyway, she believed that even if the higher-ups were watching, they wouldn't really do anything to the 5 of them. Not mentioning that one of them is a returnee, another is the sister of a powerful returnee, another one is a promising researcher. The other 2 were ordinary girls. Oh, not so ordinary right now. Sophia has been getting better and better as a beast master. With the help of her beasts, it was no longer that easy to deal with her. So even if some people were dissatisfied with her, they didn't dare to step forward in case they ended up harming themselves in the end. Stephen himself was also quite strong. And now Claire, considering that she's the fiancée of a returnee and this returnee would not leave the Green Planet, It seemed that everyone who wanted to provoke them would have to think twice before making a move. Whether they could afford the wrath of 3 returnees was one thing. And the second thing is whether it would be worth it to be the enemies of the people behind each of them. Sigh. Perhaps Leon was right. Their university was quite magical to gather the 5 of them together, and they have good relationship with each other. After all, they all belonged to different faculty, and their similarity was only in their dormitories where they stayed close together. Thinking about it now, it was indeed quite magical. Fate truly worked wonders. I want a red packet, Claire. Change the group name from the prettiest 5-person chat group to 1 married and 4 single pretty girls chat group. Pampered baby, Amelia, huh? Are you in a relationship? No, wait, you're already on the stage of getting married with the other party. I want a red packet, Claire, we're already engaged. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, what? Who dared to covet the beautiful Claire? Let me teach this man a lesson first. Little soft, Ria, with your strength, I don't think that you can do anything to him, Sophia. Pampered baby, Amelia, have you met with him, Ria? Tell us all about him and we'll judge for ourselves whether he's worthy to be with Claire or not. I want a red packet. Claire, hey, are you my mother? I can decide on my own about these things. Besides, my parents have already seen him and they didn't disagree after some time. I'm the prettiest girl. Sophia, after some time meant that they originally disagreed, huh? Squint eyes. JPG. Ruby. Confess and we'll be lenient or else. Knife. JPG. Pampered baby. Amelia. Pft. Ruby is very tough this time. I want a red packet. Claire, his name is Leon and he worked as a blacksmith in Continent X. Recently, his status has been rising higher and higher, which made my family uneasy. But he reassured me that he'll not do anything that will harm the continent nor my family. So I'm reassured. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, huh, Leon? Why is this name sound familiar? Little soft, Ria, that's because he's the 12th returnee, the last returnee who has never revealed himself before. He's a weapon master and his skills should be pretty good. But I don't know much about his personality. Little soft, Ria, to be honest, this is the first time I see him and thanks to him, I also found out that he has a relationship with Claire. Pampered baby, Amelia. No wonder you sent that picture to us. I want a red packet. Claire, I was also surprised when I saw Ria here. After all, I thought that none of you can leave Continent Z. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, on normal times. It's indeed impossible for us to leave one continent to go to other continents. But Ria has special status and I think with her ability, it's very easy for her to travel anywhere she wanted. Ruby. I can't leave City A base, so I apologize in advance that if you want to see me, you have to go to City A base. Little soft, Ria, well, I have something to do when I'm coming to Continent X this time. Otherwise, it'll take a long time for us to meet with Claire. Sigh. JPG. I really didn't expect that you would be hiding in Continent X. Pampered baby, Amelia, TSK. If you stayed with a returnee, be careful that they would have some strange thoughts. I want a red packet. Claire, huh? I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, Mel. If you say this in front of Ria, are you not afraid that she will stop supplying you with magic scrolls? Ruby, rest in peace. JPG. Little soft, Ria, smile. JPG. Amelia. It seems that I'm too lenient with you before? Pampered baby. Amelia, Master Ria. I'm sorry. I wouldn't dare to offend you again in the future. I want a red packet. Claire, you just never learn. Mel. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia, it wouldn't be Amelia if she ever learn. Ruby. Laughing out loud. JPG. Little soft, Ria, TSK. Just wait until I come back and then see how I deal with you. Pampered baby, Amelia. Change the group name from 1 married and 4 single pretty girls chat group to 1 married, 2 engaged, and 2 single pretty girls chat group. I want a red packet. Claire? I want a red packet. Claire, what the hell did I miss? How come there are 2 more engaged people in the group now? I want a red packet. Claire at Pampered baby. Amelia? Explain. Pampered baby, Amelia, I'm engaged to Brother Arnold. My parent had agreed with this relationship and I'll get married to him in the near future. I want a red packet, Clara. Finally? Congratulations. Damn it. I really want to be there to participate in your engagement, but I don't think that I can do it. I'm the prettiest girl. Sophia, congratulations. Mel, if I'm near City A base when you got married in the future, I'll definitely attend your marriage. Now I hereby reserved a reservation for your marriage in the future. Little soft, Ria, you're getting married so soon? I might not be able to attend it if it's any time soon. Pampered baby. Amelia, no problem. Soft. I'll definitely reserve the best seat for you. You can also become my bridesmaid, ha ha ha. Pampered baby. Amelia at Little Soft. Ria, don't worry too much about it. Ria, you have your mission and I don't want you to delay your task just because of me. When you come back, we can have a small party or something like that. Little Soft, Ria MHM, alright Mel. Outside, Ria looked at her phone with a complicated expression. She knew that Amelia and Arnold were in a relationship with each other. After all, those two people didn't hide this matter and basically flaunted it all day long. Moreover, all of them knew about Amelia's crush towards Arnold. Amelia never tried to hide it in the past. Who knew whether Arnold himself knew about this or not when they were young? But the girls will definitely tease Amelia about it. Seeing the chat group discussing about how their confession was, Ria sighed. She saw that Claire was still engrossed in reading and chose not to disturb the other party. Instead, she was thinking about another matter. Am I destined to miss so many things? Claire hadn't had her marriage ceremony yet, but she said that it would be soon. Amelia also stated that she might get married soon if it was possible. Of course, whether she would do it or not was another matter altogether. After all, Mr. Jones and Mrs. Jones might not necessarily agreed for her to get married so quickly. They did approve the two people's relationship, but who knows whether they could accept their children get married so quickly. It seemed that I also need to get married and have a marriage ceremony with Samuel later. Ria couldn't help but smile slightly when she thought about Samuel. She never thought too much about having a relationship before, but after having one, Ria felt that it was really good. Because she could stay with Samuel almost all the time and no one would say anything. Moreover, the two of them worked together very well when they were exploring the crack in the future. But at the same time, the two of them knew that each other have dreams and goals that they wanted to achieve. They could not be together all the time and both sides accepted it. Besides, what they wanted was never to stand behind the other party, but to stand side by side, to fight together. Ria, why are you smiling so gently? Claire was stunned when she saw the expression on Ria's face. This was basically the first time Claire ever see such an expression on Ria's face. After all, Ria was never in a relationship before, and with the stress of her study, future, and her family's matters, it was hard for Ria to be a cheerful person. She had to study and work hard in order to make sure that she could survive. Her family often made trouble for her too, and this was something that all of them knew. But it was not good to come and interfere in other people's family affairs, so the others never actually talked about it in front of Ria. They still maintained the sense of privacy and so on. However, Claire knew very well that it was rare to see such relaxed and gentle expression on Ria's face. Because aside from them, Ria didn't really have any other friends. As for family, those people could just be thrown away to the sea as fast as possible to feed the fishes. It's not worth it to keep those people around. So Claire was surprised when she saw the expression on Ria's face. Who could actually make Ria show such expression? Amelia? Claire highly doubted that the troublemaker girl will change her ways, and from the way Amelia had just provoked Ria again, it seemed unlikely. Wait, Claire looked at the chat group name that Amelia had just changed. 1 married, 2 engaged, and 2 single pretty girls chat group. 1 married is her since she's the one who changed it in the beginning and her relationship with Leon was indeed very close. 2 engaged. One of them is Amelia since she had stated her relationship with Arnold. So the other one, Claire looked at Ria and swallowed her saliva. No way. Ria woke up from her daydream and saw the expression on Claire's face. She was stunned for a moment before smiling helplessly. Considering that Amelia had already written 1 married, 2 engaged, and 2 single pretty girls chat group as their group's name. Ria knew very well that it would be impossible for her to hide the truth from her friends. The other one who has a boyfriend is me. Ria rubbed her cheek helplessly. Claire looked at Ria and then rushed over without hesitation. She grabbed Ria's shoulder and then asked, "Who is it? Who dared to approach you when you're so powerful like this?" "Ria." She slapped Claire's hand away speechlessly. "What's wrong with me being in a relationship? Don't speak as if I'm some kind of monster or anything like that." Ria felt that Claire was exaggerating. There was no problem at all with her having a relationship, all right? It's not like Ria made a vow that she would be single for her entire life. Seeing the expression on Ria's face, Claire realized that she had misspoken. "Ahem, it's not like that. I'm just surprised." "Why?" "Because you're a returnee and generally speaking, the returnee's partner will be strictly screened." Claire really didn't want to recall the intense screening that she had to face after she found out that Leon is actually a returnee. After all, Leon originally had no plan of exposing himself to others. He was busy with making weapons and living his own life. A leisure life in the midst of the storm, and Leon didn't want to care about the outside world too much. He knew very well that his ability was not as strong as the other returnees. Since there were already so many people who stepped forward, the world was definitely not lacking him. Only when the crack appeared on the island did Leon realize that it's impossible. He had to step up and fight, unless he could bear to watch as everything around him be destroyed until nothing was left. He himself might also need to leave, for he wouldn't be able to stay on this island anymore. In the end, Leon couldn't do it. And because Leon exposed himself, the continent started to investigate everything about him, including his relationship with Claire. Claire didn't want to recall those days. In short, they didn't approve of this relationship because they hoped that Leon could pick someone from Continent X instead of picking Continent Z's woman. Unfortunately, Leon himself was also extremely stubborn and didn't want them to influence his personal life. In this way, Claire could retain her status. But whenever she thought about the pain of having her entire life being investigated by others, she couldn't help but feel a tingling feeling in her brain. If possible, she didn't want to experience such a thing in her entire life again. Ria blinked her eyes. Seeing Claire's gray expression, she had a guess about what Claire had to experience. For a moment, she patted Claire's shoulder. "I can assure you that such problem wouldn't happen to me," Ria said helplessly, and then said, "And if Leon dared to treat you badly after making you experience that, don't worry. He gave me a lot of promises himself." Claire quickly waved her hand. Thinking about the promises that Leon made, Claire smiled sweetly. So sweet that if Ria herself was not in a relationship, she would definitely feel the extremely sour smell of love that could make every single dog's full. "That's good. This is not how you change the conversation. Tell me about yours," Claire said menacingly. She would not let Ria off so easily. "Ah." Ria sighed and then pointed in the direction of the stairs outside. "My partner is also a returnee, to be exact. He's Samuel, Amelia's brother." "Claire?" "Huh." At this moment, Claire's brain experienced unexpected crash, and it needed some time before she could reboot it. She silently turned to look at the chat group and couldn't help but ask inside. "I want a red packet, Claire Amelia. Ria is your sister-in-law? Pampered baby. Amelia, Ria should have told you, right?" That's true. Ria is my sister-in-law and also the best one. I want a red packet, Claire. For a moment, I'm jealous. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia. Pfft, don't be. I think that Ria would not want to have such a troublesome sister-in-law either. Ruby. I can remember how many times Ria had to help Amelia and you, Sophia, while you're still in Cydia base. Little soft Ria TSK, don't make trouble, girls. Pampered baby, Amelia anyway. I'm the one who matchmake them. The two of them are the best pairing. But I swear that you two choose the worst possible date location ever. I can't understand how you can date when you're in the crack and even stay there for days. Pampered baby. Amelia, don't you think that you're showing your ugly appearance in front of him? And it's really tiring to work so hard every single day. Yet you manage to preserve? I want a red packet. Claire, it seems that neither understand romance. Little soft, Ria. TSK. You don't understand the joy of living together in advance even if it's fraught with danger. Ruby. I don't want to understand. I want a red packet, Claire +1. Pampered baby, Amelia +1. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia +1. I want a red packet, Claire. In a relationship, what I want is to have my boyfriend pay attention to me and me alone. Besides, going on a date is a must. How could you not do any of that, Ria? Pampered baby, Amelia. She goes on dates, but the date location is inside the crack where there are a lot of magic beasts. I don't understand how it could be romance when the two of them are busy fighting with the magic beasts without having time to pay attention to your partner. I'm the prettiest girl, Sophia agreed. When I find a man, I'll definitely not pick a workaholic like you two. Little soft. Ria, it's not that bad when we're staying in the crack. I want a red packet, Claire. I don't listen. Pampered baby, Amelia. Ria. Next time, if my brother just want to drag you on a date inside the crack, I'll help you to formulate better training plan. I'll definitely able to make the best date arrangement for you. I'm the prettiest girl. Sophia, count me in. I'll help you too. Little soft. Ria. I don't have time to date right now. The girls continued to joke around. Ria looked helpless, yet at the same time she was also happy. And she saw Claire, who looked at her teasingly, feeling even more exasperated. But she was glad to chat with her friends before her departure. They only stopped after all the returnees have gathered and Ria had to leave. Claire was sad and a bit resistant, but she also knew that it would be impossible for her to prevent Ria from leaving. She could only pray for the best. And while the two girls were chatting with each other, the people downstairs were chatting with each other on their own. It was obviously they were asking about their arrangement after leaving. The message only showed the image of the teleportation formation but didn't give out much information about the world they were going to. But no matter what, they all decided to leave. They knew very well Thatchy wouldn't have much chance to practice if they stayed on the green planet. Only if they left would it be possible for them to encounter some things. Tep. The door opened, and when they saw the person who came inside, their expression changed. Murin, I don't expect you to be here too. Peter sneered when he saw Murin walking in. The fact that Murin entered the crack and made trouble with the magicians from the Magic Association were not a secret. Many people knew about it and secretly mocked the magicians from the Magic Association for getting close to Murin and ended up being bitten back. But now seeing Murin is here, they somehow understood that he also planned to leave Continent Z. No wonder the higher-ups agree so quickly this time. Samuel saw Murin coming in and understood that the Continent Z basically sent all of their returnees into a completely different world. In this way, Continent Z might look weaker than the other continents. But look at how the other returnees are. None of them could be controlled by the officials, and those who did were more of a support role. They also wouldn't make trouble for no reason to other continents. In this way, the higher-ups were relieved. If they had to say, their biggest treat was actually Murin. It was actually a bit sad that their own returnee was being seen as a threat. But thinking about Murin's behavior in the past year and how he used to be in that world, Samuel was not particularly surprised. It would be strange if Murin was not hated. I'm not here to fight today. Murin sneered when he saw the others in the room. He knew very well that these people were all very troublesome to deal with, and he himself was not ready to start a battle with them. It would be better for him not to do anything unnecessary and cause more trouble for others, because he was sure that they would definitely kill him. Now that the chance for him to leave the green planet had arrived, Murin just wanted to seize this chance. Once he left, no one would be able to control his life anymore. How did you make them agree for you to come here? Dina frowned. She had to trade some things with the officials for them to agree to send her to Continent X. After all, traveling by herself would be troublesome, and Dina didn't want to go through such troubles. It would be better for her to pay some price. When she entered that world, there would be danger, but at the same time, she would be able to receive more resources that she needed more than anything. That's not your business. You. All right. I'll call Ria down and then you can go. Leon stood up when he saw Ruth coming in not far behind Murin. There were only 6 people who wanted to leave the green planet, and all of them had gathered here. The rest would stay. They didn't have the interest to go to a completely different world and possibly face danger over there. Tisk! Murin clicked his tongue and stood on the side. As Ruth walked inside, she nodded at the others and then glanced at Murin. She had already seen Murin when she was in City J Base, and this was a person who couldn't be controlled by others. He made a lot of troubles, but he still managed to escape unscathed. If Ruth had to say, the flute of beast in his hand was really troublesome. If it was not because of that thing, Murin wouldn't have been able to be so free and unrestrained in that world. And in this world, it was not an exaggeration to say that they were still wary of him because of this thing. Even if the ordinary magic beasts couldn't really hurt them, it was still very troublesome to be entangled by a lot of magic beasts all at once. They didn't really want to waste their time fighting with a lot of magic beasts. It would be very troublesome. Tep. Ria walked down after being called by Leon, and when she saw Murin, she also arched her eyebrows. It seemed that Murin had come to an agreement with the officials to be able to come here. As for whether the magicians from the Magic Association would come and chase after him, Ria didn't know. She only knew that they will definitely try to make trouble if they were to see Murin. "Shall we go now?" Leon asked. "Ah." Ria nodded and she glanced at Leon lightly. If this man dared to treat Claire badly, she will make sure that he would be beaten up badly no matter what. There was no way she would let Claire suffer. Humph. Leon saw Ria's gaze and laughed dryly. His girlfriend's family seemed to be a bit too strong, which made him feel a bit overwhelmed. But this also meant that there were a lot of people who cared for her. So he's also happy to a certain degree. "Let's go." Leon didn't come with them and only showed the port where the soldiers will take over. The ship was not that big, but it was strong enough to bring them to the designated island that was not far away. "We can actually fly over there, right?" Dina asked with a frown when she saw the island in the distance. It didn't seem to be that far. Why did they have to use the ship for departure instead of using helicopter or something like that? A helicopter would be much more convenient than using the ship. That. Swoosh. The wind suddenly becomes strong and the ship swayed badly. The sailors who were in charge of the ship swiftly moved to the side and used their magic to stabilize the ship. The returnees looked like they didn't care at all, though. For them, such swaying was nothing much, and instead their gaze was directed in the direction where the strong wind come from. It was obvious that the one who did it should be a magic beast. "There's a powerful magic beast undersea," Ria said, and her eyes narrowed. "This is a rank 7 magic beast, and if it was left alone, there was no telling what would happen in the future. How troublesome. How about dealing with it before our departure?" Peter asked, and he rubbed his hand together, eager to make a move. "Can you attack underwater?" Samuel looked at Peter as if he was looking at an idiot. Sometimes Peter really need to learn how to use his brain. That rank 7 magic beast was undersea and none of them were capable of fighting underwater. If they tried to provoke it, what awaited them would be nothing more than their own destruction. Peter was stunned. He seemed to have not think about how he could attack the rank 7 magic beasts underwater. Lure him up?" Ruth asked. Murin clicked his tongue. What a group of troublesome **stards. They all silently looked in Murin's direction, and their expressions seemed to say, "Dare to repeat it again?" Murin saw their gazes and silently shut his mouth. He didn't want to die yet,